This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 293 Aussie Mac Zone. 293, we're getting up there. Zarn, how are you tonight?
Fantastic, Michael. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Garth said he'll be on next week, which is great.
Awesome.
So that's the plan. Don't forget, we are brought to you by IT Helps You and Aussie Tech Heads. ATH Web Hosting, don't forget that. Now our Aussie Apple ramblings this week. Nah, hang on. Did I press the go live button? I did, didn't I? That's why we've just been talking about that. So our Aussie Apple ramblings this week. Thousands of Android apps can track your phone, even if you deny permissions. So The Verge reports, when you explicitly tell an Android app, no, you don't have permission to track my phone, you probably expect that it won't have abilities that let it do that. But researchers say that thousands of apps have found ways to cheat Android's permissions system, phoning home your device's unique identifier and enough data to potentially reveal your location as well. Even if you say no to one app when it asks for permission to see those personally identifying bits of data, it might not be enough. A second app with permissions you have approved can share those bits with the other one or leave them in shared storage where another app, potentially even a malicious one, can read it. The two apps might not seem related, but researchers say that because they're built using the same software development kit, they can access that data. And there's evidence that the SDK owners are receiving it. It's like a kid asking for dessert who gets told no by one parent, so they go and ask the other parent. According to a study presented at PrivacyCon 2019, we are talking about apps from the likes of Samsung and Disney, pardon me, that have been downloaded hundreds of millions of times. They use SDKs built by Chinese search giant Baidu and an analytics firm called Salmonads that could pass your data from one app to another and to their servers by storing it locally on your phone first. Researchers saw that some apps using the Baidu SDK may be attempting to quietly obtain this data for their own use. So yeah, just be aware, people, because I know there are Apple users that use Samsung phones or other Android phones, so please be aware. It's very annoying these days.
I was only talking about this on Thursday, I think it was.
Yeah.
With my dad, actually, and his friend. They were talking about the pros and cons of Android versus Apple.
Yeah.
I was saying, spend the little bit extra. He said he wants to buy either. He was looking at the Galaxy S10 compared to the Apple phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, for privacy reasons, I said spend a little bit extra and buy the Apple. And he's like, but is it really true? And I'm like, yeah, it is really true. Like, and so I was explaining this sort of stuff to them. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, oh man, look, you can do your own research, but I'm not pulling your leg. You know?
Yeah, well, I think it just comes down, it's a simple one that I try and tell people that are just having the same discussion are Apple phones and the Pixel phones are the only two that get any updates, security updates.
Yeah.
Whereas like Samsung, how often do you get a security update? Because they wait for the Telstra to do it, and Telstra don't do it, or Optus, or
Yep.
the phone. Your carrier doesn't do any security updates.
That's
They're
right.
not. So it just comes down to who's pushing out the updates to keep me safe. Basically, that's what I think. So
Yep.
I'm quite happy staying in the little Apple cove, you know.
Yep, absolutely.
Weathering out. So we've got a security flaw here that and it's the program that we personally use here for doing our webcast here.
Yep.
So Zoom has a security flaw that could let websites turn on your Mac's webcam without permission.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, the next web reports a serious zero-day vulnerability has been disclosed in Zoom video conferencing app on the Mac. Security researcher Jonathan Lishu, that's all right, in a Medium post detailed the flaw that could let websites hijack your Mac's camera and forcibly join you to a Zoom call without your permission. Zoom is one of the most popular.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry,
Cloud-based enterprise communication platforms that offers chat, video, and audio conferencing, and options to host webinars and virtual meetings. And about 4 million of its users are on a Mac. We're using it now.
Absolutely.
This effectively means in order to exploit this vulnerability, all an attacker needs to do is create an invite link through his account on Zoom, embed it on a website as a malicious ad, and just lure the target into visiting that website. And then, it says, click here to get the best deal. You click there and it can turn your camera on just like that. But the camera, however, can be turned off if you tick the option, turn off my video when joining a meeting. It's in the preferences.
Yep.
Now, an update on July, pardon me, we're doing well tonight.
I know.
On July 10th, in a surprise reversal, Zoom has decided to kill its controversial practices of using the local web server on Mac devices. It also pushed an emergency patch to remove the server completely, but it acknowledged it didn't currently have an easy way to uninstall both the client and the server. Now, also, Apple has pushed out an update that removes the Zoom web server. So this was just a little web server that was hanging around in the background.
Yep.
You wouldn't even know it was there. It'd just get a link saying open this. Even if I don't install the app, it would reinstall it and turn your camera on. So,
wow,
which is pretty bad.
That is bad.
But apparently it's been resolved now. So
we just want to apologise to everybody for tonight. We're both getting over the flu. And so we're coughing and spluttering and, Yes. Enjoy the show, people.
Now, reminder, this week we are brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au. Now, they got great services, easy to set up, easy to get going. You can do WordPress and Joomla and all that sort of stuff. Sorry, I'm just trying to get an understanding of what's happening. It says we've reached 16 people, but I can't see anybody on it yet.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm saying I've got one.
So one share, but reached 16. So anyway.
I've got two.
There you go.
Hi, everybody. I don't know what's going on with our Facebook Live. It just doesn't tell us that you're there.
No.
And we apologise because we would love to interact with you. But for some reason, and it's not from our end, Facebook doesn't allow us to interact live. And
we can't see anything. And
we've tried to resolve this problem. So we apologise. We would love to interact with you.
Yeah, we've got 16 people reached, one share. But it doesn't tell me who or anyway.
Doesn't allow us to interact live.
Anyway, that's the way it goes.
That beautiful, angelic voice.
Yes.
What was that?
So, don't forget athwebhosting.com.au. Maybe they'll have a better service than Facebook. But they are, if you think you need a website, go for it, because I know you need a website. Even if you just register your kids' domains names so they've got something when they grow up.
Absolutely.
Before someone else poaches it. Now, I've just changed everything around because you haven't seen this, Zarn, but Industrial Light and Magic sets up in Sydney.
Ooh.
On the news today, it was announced ILM would be going to Sydney, setting up at Fox Studios while it finds its own premises. Expect to employ about 500 people, and they got a 10% tax reduction. So that's what made them come to Sydney.
As much as I like that they're here, and I knew this was happening already because I was speaking to some friends in the industry.
Yep.
And they knew this was happening. They were going, "Oh, where?" And they were saying, "Where are they going to go?" And they were saying, "Fox Studios." And everyone was complaining that they were going to take up too much space. The 10% taxing from our government is absolute garbage. But anyway, it's a whole other story, probably for another podcast.
So, yes. So, welcome, ILM. Look forward to having you here.
Absolutely.
Pumping out some more videos, movies. Yep. Big time.
Yep.
So, over to you, Zarn. Our gaming section. Here we go.
All right. So, Pokemon Live or Pokemon Go, I should say, is celebrating its 3rd birthday. Sensor Tower has taken a closer look at the mobile game's financial performance. Since launch, the big stat, it has earned an estimated $2.65 billion worldwide across the App Store, Google Play. That's more than both Candy Crush and what's that other one? Clash Royale. That's it. Clash Royale. Players in the US are responsible for 35% of the gross, or close to $929 million. So,
yeah.
The next closest is Japan with $779 million. About 29% of all in games. Germany is 3rd at 6%. As far as the devices go, Android users hold the slight. Oh, I don't like that. The slight majority at 1.4 million spent on Google Play, and 1.2 billion was generated primarily by iPhone users. So the last 1.6% of iOS revenues stems from those on iPads. 3 years after the release of Pokemon Go is still a strong performer. Well, we all know this. You know, like, I love Pokemon Go. I've talked about it, and I'm talking about it. I was playing it just before when I pulled up to do the podcast. I was outside playing it. So, and I'll play it before I leave.
But what are people buying? But that's a massive amount of money.
It is a massive amount of money.
$1 billion a year.
It is billions. Yeah. So, and it says additionally, the games has grossed 390 million global so far this year. 395 million global this year. That's pretty good. That's an increase of 19% over the first half of the year. Pokemon Go players have collectively spent, on average, $2.4 million each day since launch, and an average of $5 for each of its 521 million downloads. So we're not talking about what we're buying, but it's basically you're buying coins so you can get. So that all Pokemon Go does is sell coin. So you buy your Pokecoin, and then you can go to the in-store in Pokemon Go and buy what you need. You can expand your backpack. You can expand your Pokemon carrier. You can buy potions. Well, not potions. I shouldn't say that because it's not. But you can buy Pokeballs. You can buy the whole range of stuff.
Or you can go out and earn them.
Not everything. You can't earn everything.
Yeah.
But you can get most things, and you don't have to buy stuff if you're a medium to low level player. You really don't have to buy anything. I may spend maybe I don't know, $15 every 2 months. If
Yeah.
I need it, because I'm not a huge, like, I'm not out there every day doing it because I have a life. But every little chance I get, I take Mason and I will go out and we'll have a Pokemon hunt. And we had a Pokemon hunt this morning when we went out, and
Good. Yep.
yeah, and that sort of thing. So yeah, you can avoid paying for stuff really, and you can trade with other people like Pokemon and things like that. But yeah, if you're at the top level of Pokemon Go, then you're spending money. So yeah,
All right.
yep. So, Story Sue, gaming. Was anyone really asking for a mobile Dr. Mario game? Yes, we were. We've all been asking for it. Any old school Nintendo game on the iPhone, we're asking for it. There was an immediate thought when Nintendo announced Dr. Mario World, its new free-to-play mobile title for iOS and Android, which launched on Wednesday, July 10th. I've had it since Thursday.
Yeah.
Then I realized Nintendo would be crazy not to capitalize on phones for the addictive new puzzler. Super Mario Run. I love Super Mario Run as well. When that first came out, anything to do with that old school Nintendo stuff, it's where I first started gaming, like properly. I had the Atari, but I was a bit young, and so I really only played Frogger or Galaga Space Invaders, that sort of thing. I didn't get in there much else on that. But when the first NES came out and I could play Super Mario, that's what really sort of got me hooked. So, Super Mario Run. The company's first mobile game was a money-making hit. Pokemon Go was a worldwide phenomenon, and even though Nintendo only had a partial stake in it, investors still ate it up. The bigger question really is, why did it take so long to resurrect Dr. Mario on smartphones? Alright, but now instead of having viruses fall from the top of the screen, Tetris style, they rise from the bottom. That seems like a confusing flip at first, but it's still good. It's pretty simple game action, but I'm still in the beginning stages of playing it. And it's easy to do. I'm going through they sort of give you, it's not a tutorial, but it's simple so you can work out the best way to play the game for yourself.
Yeah.
It's easy one-touch stuff as well. Like you can do it single-handedly. So, if you're on the train or whatever and you can just, sort of got some time to kill, you can just do your thing. But yeah, playing a few rounds, it was clearly a smart move, for ergonomics.
Yeah.
We typically cradle phone from bottom in our palms, which is true, we do. So yeah, just made things quicker and it was easier to use, made things, sort of a little bit more mobile, I guess, for lack of a better word. Especially with larger devices like the iPhone XS Max. Once I got into the flow of Dr. Mario World, dealing with pills rising felt like second nature. So you also, with the pills down the bottom, you've got the pill that you're about to send and one underneath. You can actually tap and swap. So depending on which one you want.
Okay.
And depending, sometimes you get two half colours, so you can swap to that if you needed it, and then do that, swap it up. You can then tap it, depending on what direction you want it to go, and things like that. Like it's really good. It's really simple. It's really sort of easy interactive stuff. So yeah. So that's really all I got on that. I really Dr. Mario sells itself. We all know the game. We all love the game. We all remember when it came out, unless you're a millennial and you don't, but you still remember it on Game Boy and maybe. It's a great game. So yeah, check it out. It's free, so it doesn't cost you anything. Just go straight into your App Store or Google Play and grab it and have a go.
Excellent.
Yep.
So you've been enjoying that?
I have. So this is Steam, the announcement in the next one, and we've been talking about this for 12 months now, on and off. Finally, the Steam app has launched in the Apple Store. In the App Store. It has finally made its debut, both iOS and tvOS devices. Steam Link gives gamers the chance to play their favorite PC or stream machine games on iPhone, iPad, and Apple TV.
Yeah.
Rather than have haul around a big gaming laptop, haul around. I wrote this. Why can't I read it? Haul around a big gaming laptop. In other words, to quote Anchorman's Ron Burgundy, this is kind of a big deal. Steam Link initially revealed that it was coming to iOS in about May last year.
Yes.
But when we announced it then as well, we're like, Steam might be coming. But Apple changed their mind because of buying differences and how they were going to work out pricing and who was going to get the lion's share.
Yeah, and they were trying to do in-app purchases and things like that Apple don't do. So
Yep. And it took them a while to sort of work out all that sort of stuff. In the time since then, it seems that Steam has made a few Apple-friendly tweaks. For example, last year, after Apple updated its App Store guidelines for remote desktop clients, it agreed to prevent players from making purchases on iPhone and iPad.
Yep. What's the matter?
Oh, it's a big bang outside.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So it just sounded like a car accident, actually. Yeah. So that's it. We've got Steam.
Steam. Yeah.
Yep. So there'll be more about it once we find out more.
They've been around for a while now too, haven't they?
They have. I've got a Steam account. When I was doing my gaming course and and all that sort of stuff, I had a Steam account and learning how to play games. Not really. It was just fun to be able to go to work and play games and say I was doing research.
But I can remember when my son was like just after Steam came out on Apple machines, we set up his account on his computer, and that was that'd be more than 10 years ago.
Well, I remember actually we were only talking about that the other day as well, Curtis and I, and talking about Steam, and I've had it on a few PCs and some laptops as well. Yeah, it was just good because I could take a laptop with me, and to a friend's house, and we could game there on live. I know that's lame, but I don't say that I live an adventurous life. I like video games, so we'd go over and or sit around and play video games on Steam together. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, it's there. It's ready to go. You can play it on your iPhones. And so, yeah, give it a go. That's it for me this week.
That's good. Well done.
Excellent. Thank you.
So we got some Apple upgrades this week. They upgraded the MacBook Air range by adding True Tone display technology, which automatically adjusts the display based on ambient light for more natural colors. So better and cheaper. Although not a big drop in Australia due to the exchange rate, they have dropped it to $1,099 US, which I think was $100 and something dollars cheaper. Now, also the base model MacBook Pro got the most substantial update, adding Touch Bar and Touch ID, and new processors starting from a 1.4 gig quad-core 8th gen i5 chip. So, yeah, they got rid of, quote, the Escape, which had the ordinary type Escape and function keys running across the top now. But a significant update for the same price.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's good. Now, Apple releases a firmware security update for discontinued Airport Express, Airport Extreme, and Time Capsule base stations. While Apple's airport lineup has long been discontinued, the company is still supporting the devices with software updates. The Airport Express, Extreme, and Time Capsule base stations have received a firmware security update, so please go and check it and stay on top of it, please.
Excellent.
Security updates are important. Yeah. Now, this was interesting. There was a 40-year-old Apple I original manual. You got the picture up there.
I do.
Now, we've seen a couple of Apple I computers go up for auction over the last year. While they can fetch large sums, especially if they're functioning, they don't always come with the original paperwork. Now, an Apple I original manual was up for auction. The manual does have a circular stain on the first page, which likely reduces the amount it would have fetched. But here's the description. Extremely rare, original vintage Apple I operation manual issued by Apple Computer in 1976. 12 pages, 8.5 by 11, featuring Apple's original logo on the front cover, designed by the third Apple co-founder, which most people keep forgetting about, is Ron Wayne,
Yep.
and showing Isaac Newton thoughtfully seated beneath a tree, with a shiny apple dangling over his head.
Which is a great logo, by the way. I really like that.
Yeah, but it would have been just a bit too busy for young Steve Jobs. So that's why I think they changed reasonably quickly.
Yeah, they do. They definitely did. Yeah. I love the photo that we have up because I can read it, and it's the introduction. And I'm just going to read it just says, the Apple computer is a complete microprocessor system consisting of a MOS technology 6502 microprocessor and supports hardware.
That's correct. Now, expanding the Apple system features an impressive fold-out schematic of the Apple I computer. It also has a page headed 6502 hex monitor listing for an innovative memory program devised by Steve Wozniak, which is commonly called the Woz monitor. In very good to fine condition, with light irregular grid-shaped toning on the front cover, a short tear to the top edge of the front cover, and a light circular stain inside the front cover. This example is not 3-hole punched. So that few pieces of paper fetched $11,402 US.
That's insane.
So I'd be willing to bet the person that could afford that probably owns an Apple I computer.
Absolutely.
And thank you for whoever bought it. Thank you.
Yes.
for keeping it. Yep. There you go.
Did you? I sent you some apples that were for sale the other day that I found in Facebook Marketplace. Did you see them?
Oh, I can't say I did. No.
I might have to see if I sent them to you or not. I'm pretty sure I did.
I can't say I did. No, but don't forget we are I'm doing a reminder that we are brought to you by ithelptoyou.com.au, www.ithelptoyou.com.au. Go there, have a look at the website, dark mode website now. Only dark mode. I believe it still looks all right. And yeah, if you want to ring up, ask a question, contact details are there. You can download a card easily. Just go for it. It's very simple. And contact us whenever you like. Now, we do have another picture for this next story. Apple re-releases Texas Hold'em ahead of the App Store's 11th anniversary. VentureBeat reports Apple's App Store will celebrate its 11th anniversary this week, but the company says it's celebrating the store's 10th year by re-releasing a classic iPod and then iPhone app, Texas Hold'em. Based on the globally popular poker game, the app gives players the chance to gamble fake money in 10 casino settings, including an Apple garage with classic iMac and iPod posters.
Awesome.
Classic iPod poster.
Yes.
Look behind me. Now, it's zero cost to users. And the way you get to these different casino settings is as you get better, you go from playing in the garage with your mates all the way to playing in, where is it, Macau. So as you get better and better without spending any money.
It's my cow, not your cow.
Okay. Now, the original $5 Apple version of Texas Hold'em launched for the 5th generation iPod way back in September 2006, before arriving on the iPhone and iPod Touch in July 2008. An oddity in that Apple rarely develops its own mobile games. Surprisingly little has changed from the game's prior releases to the re-release. Apple has reformatted the look to tall retina displays, but preserved most of the same background themes, digitized characters and music from before, albeit with new characters and more challenging gameplay. The game can be played in portrait or landscape orientations, and you get different views when you're playing it. It's not just flipping it from side to side. So yeah, I've downloaded it, but I haven't actually had time to play it. So I am looking forward to it.
I used to play it all the time.
Yeah,
because there was that big Texas, Hold'em craze in the early noughties.
Yeah,
and I loved this game because I wasn't all my mates were playing and that, and I wasn't really into that sort of stuff. And so the game sort of gave me a rundown on the rules and what to do and everything. I still lost all the time when we played at mates' places. I never ever won, but I still understood a little bit more on how to play it.
But yeah, so you get lots of different the way it skips around and shows you what your other players have got when you're in landscape or portrait mode. Now, I'd like to point out, as this is the game that we used as our competition game a few weeks back, which was Apple's first game.
Yep.
We're going to take responsibility for getting it re-released.
That's right.
So all our Aussie Mac Zone people that went in for the game, they obviously saw a major increase in demand and inquiries about the game.
That's right.
And so we're taking responsibilities.
That we are.
Now, that's nearly it, man. Have you got anything else you want to discuss? Or
there was a couple other things that I need to write this stuff down.
That's why we have Apple Notes.
That's right. And I forgot to put it in there. But what was it? No, that's it.
No, because this last story is a fairly long one. I had it earlier but that's why I changed it around.
Yep.
Now, the surprising story behind Apple Watch's ECG ability. So the latest Apple Watch has got ECGs.
Yep.
But there's a whole story that goes into the ECG part, and there's a whole book about it now.
Oh, wow.
There's a link to later on. But Engadget writes, in February 2016, so that's not that long ago, a small startup company called AliveCore hired Frank Peterson and Simon Prakash, two Googlers with AI expertise, to transform their business of smartphone electrocardiograms. The company was struggling. They had developed the first smartphone app capable of single lead ECG, and by 2015, they were even able to display the ECG on an Apple Watch. The app had a wow factor, but otherwise seemed to be of little practical value. The company faced an existential threat, despite extensive venture capital investment. But Peterson and Prakash and their team of only 3 other AI talents had an ambitious twofold mission. One objective was to develop an algorithm that would passively detect a heart rhythm disorder. The other to determine the level of potassium in the blood simply from the ECG captured by the watch. It wasn't a crazy idea given whom AliveCore had just hired. Peterson, AliveCore's VP of engineering, like most engineers, is a bit introverted. At Apple, he headed up YouTube Live, gaming.
At Google.
Yes. Yeah, at Google, he headed up YouTube Live. What did I say?
Apple.
Sorry. At Google, he headed up YouTube Live, gaming, and led engineering for Hangouts. He previously had won an Academy Award and 9 feature film credits for his design and development software for movies, including Transformers, Star Trek, and the Harry Potter series, and Avatar. Right, this
just a few under his belt. Not many.
Nah,
they're not important ones either.
Prakash, the VP of Products and Design, not as tall as Peterson, without an Academy Award. This all in the book, but is especially handsome, dark-haired, and brown-eyed, looking like he's right out of a Hollywood movie set. His youthful appearance doesn't jive with the track record of 20 years of experience in product development, which included leading the Google Glass design project. He also worked at Apple for 9 years, directly involved in the development of the first iPhone and iPad, and that background might in retrospect be considered ironic. Meanwhile, a team of more than 20 engineers and computer scientists at Apple, located just 6 miles away, had its sights set on diagnosing atrial fibrillation via their watch. They benefited from Apple's seemingly unlimited resources and strong corporate support. The company's chief operating officer, Jeff Williams, responsible for the Apple Watch development and release, had articulated a strong vision for it as an essential medical device in the future. Sorry. Now, at the Mayo Clinic, this is all happening at the same time, Paul Friedman and his colleagues were busy studying details of a part of an ECG known as T-wave and how it correlated with blood levels of potassium. In medicine, we've known for decades that tall T-waves could signify high potassium levels and that a potassium level over 5 milligrams is dangerous. People with kidney disease are at risk of developing these levels of potassium. Now, after initially failing with data from 1.3 million 12-lead ECGs and corresponding blood potassium levels gathered over 20 years, they thought that maybe all the key information was not in the T-wave, as Friedman's team had thought. So why not analyze the whole ECG signal and override the human assumption that all the useful information would be encoded in the T-wave? They asked the Mayo Clinic to come up with a better, broader data set to work with, and the Mayo Clinic came through. Now their algorithm could be tested with 2.8 million ECGs, incorporating the whole ECG pattern instead of just the T-wave, and 4.28 million potassium levels. What happened? Eureka! The error rate dropped from 1%, and the measure of predictive accuracy, where 1 is perfect, rose from 0.63 to 0.86, so a lot closer to being good. They now had the data and algorithm to present to the FDA to get clearance to market the algorithm for detecting high potassium levels on a smartwatch. There were vital lessons in AliveCore's experience for anyone seeking to apply AI to medicine. When I asked Peterson what he'd learned, he said, don't filter the data too early. I was at Google, Vic was at Google, Simon was at Google. We've learned this lesson before, but sometimes you have to learn the lesson multiple times. Machine learning tends to work best if you give it enough data and the rawest data you can. Because if you have enough of it, then it should be able to filter out the noise by itself. So, yeah, it just took, admittedly, like 3 years is not very long, is it?
Not at all, especially to come up with something so absolutely brilliant, and life-saving. So
yes, yeah, and it's really good that, for example, the Mayo's kept such good records for such a long period of time.
That's right.
Just in case someone wants to use them later on, and it's certainly helped us out now.
Also, I want to apologise to everybody that was listening to that and trying to watch it when I realised that I hadn't changed it from the picture of the poker to Michael talking about it.
Yeah, that's what it's hard to do, man. It's hard to keep pushing the buttons. I know that from experience.
I apologise to everybody. I'm not having a great evening.
I did that when I was on my own. Like, I kept the picture up instead I was talking.
Yeah.
But anyway, so don't forget the show notes each week in wherever you upload your copy of the podcast from, video, YouTube, Apple, etc. There'll be a link. You click on it and you can go back and get the last 5 weeks worth of show notes. Spotify, just search for Aussie Max Zone. Apple News, Aussie Max Zone. Don't forget, thanks to our sponsors, this week being ATH Web Hosting and IT Help to You, but most importantly, our supporters, you, our listeners. Pardon us for dying on the site. But
absolutely.
Anyway.
I'm trying not to laugh.
So hard. So, Zarn, it's over to you to finish.
Sorry. Yep. I'm with you.
Yes. I'll try and cut some of these out in post.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry, sick. Remember, an apple a day keeps the androids away.
We'll have to start taking our apples.
I reckon cleaning up the doctor. Good night, everyone, and thanks for watching.